By the way, in one of my classes yesterday, I gave a quiz. It was a pop quiz, but it was a pop quiz with open notes. So, with that being said, you should be writing on paper, first of all. Second of all, you should be taking notes, okay? Because that is a possibility. And if you write on paper, you can always scan it in later.
I know it's in my bag. Like, I feel like I already started this whole year, and I use it for like all my other classes. And I can't like start a new notebook now.
That's fair. Okay. All right, so a quick study, participles. Let's talk about what kinds there actually are, and I think seeing it tabulated out will help you. At least I'm hoping so. So let's take the verb mito, mitere, misi, missus. Okay, does anyone remember what that means? To send, good. Okay, now I'm gonna kind of draw somewhat of a table, so bear with me here. All right, the left column, we're gonna have, well, let's start with our, start with our columns. Okay, so we're gonna have the active side of things, and we're gonna have the passive side of things. Okay, now, our rows are going to be present, perfect, and future. And that's definitely crooked, so I'm sorry if any of you are attentive to details like that. Like Erin, I would imagine, is probably bothered by it a little bit.
Crooked?
I think it is crooked.
Oh, I mean the
It is.
It's okay. I'm trying my best here. Oh yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Sorry. I should have said nothing. Actually, let's move this over a little bit. All right, so this is our table. Now, there is no such thing as a present passive, so we're just gonna put a big old X right in here. We don't need this box. And there's no such thing as a perfect active either, so we're gonna put another big old X in this box right here. Yippee yay, that's exciting. Okay, less to learn. Yay. Wow, you're not smiling. I said less to learn, yay, you're not smiling. Well, that's good. All right, now I mentioned yesterday that we've got the present active participle, the PAP. We've got the perfect passive participle, the PPP, and we've got the future active participle, the FAP. Now, there is a future passive participle. That is what we call the gerund/gerundive, okay? You might have heard this term before. We're not going to talk about that, the gerund gerundive, just yet, okay? But just know that it does exist. Okay, so let me fill out what these forms kind of look like for you. So let's talk about present active. Hang on. Oops. Okay, make sure you leave room underneath for a translation though, okay, in the box. That's okay, that's okay. So it's just gonna be the form and then what it means. So if you can squeeze it in somewhere, that's fine. Okay, so mittens, mittentis. I know that looks like mittens, but that's not what it is. You know, it's a really fun game, reading English, but with Latin pronunciation guides. Like when you're driving, if ever you're like really tired, just start doing that. It's kind of funny.
I'll try it.
Yeah, one day. Okay, now, present active participles, right? In English, I think we've talked about this. How can I make this a present active participle? How would I translate it?
Sending?
Sending, exactly. Okay. Now, the perfect passive participle we had to talk about in order to form passive verbs. Okay, so think back to passive verbs in the perfect verb system. Okay, in the present verb system, passive verbs just have the four risky turtles, murder, mini centurion endings. But in the perfect verb system, do you guys remember how that worked? Yeah. Okay, so the form was a fourth principal part plus some form of the verb to be. Okay, so our fourth principal part is missus, right? And that gives us essentially our perfect passive. So we've got, whoops, it's going to erase, don't do that. Missus, misa, misum. Okay, and your very basic translation of the perfect passive participle is having been sent. Yep. Okay, so if you notice, right, we've got two verb, well, kind of, okay. Misus, misa, misum looks most like what type of adjective? First and second or third? First and second, right? Because you've got an us, a, format. But mittens, mittentis, what kind of adjective does that one look like? First and second or third? Third. So what's nice about this, with these participles, the ending of the word will very clearly be shown what it's modifying or what it's going with. Okay, and that's going to help you out a decent bit. Okay. Now let's talk about the future real quick, because you know, that's always fun. For lack of space, I'm just going to abbreviate here. Okay. Missurus, missura, missurum. Okay, so essentially it's the fourth principal part, but there's like a UR thrown in there. Okay? And the way you would translate this is about to send. This is a very basic translation though, which you'll see. Okay. And finally, just so you can see the form, our future passive participle, also known as the gerund or gerundive, is mittendus, mittenda, mittendum.
Wait, why are they adjectives? Oh.
Okay. Now, let's think about this just for a second. Okay, since the future category has both active and passive, let's figure this out. If missurus means about to send, how can I make it passive? How do I translate that passively? Say again, Tim? Careful, stick to kind of like the formulaic way that's... So about to send, and then how do I make that passive? Exactly, yep. And that's how you translate your future passive participles. Whoops. Okay. Now, I'm going to spend a tiny bit more time on the screen, just super briefly. Okay. So some recognition tips. The hardest one to recognize, as I've said before, is the perfect passive participle. Okay, but I say that very lightly because all the perfect passive participle is just the fourth principal part of any verb. So if you've been diligent with your vocab study up to this point, since Latin 1, recognizing the fourth principal part should not be difficult. Okay? Now, the other ones are pretty simple. Okay, let's talk about the present active. Okay. In the word present, you've got the letters NT. Okay, now aside from the nominative form of this word, which is going to be mittens, all the oblique, meaning the other cases of this word, have an NT in the form, just like the word present. So if you have if you have a word that looks like it comes from a verb, but it's got an adjectival ending and it's got an NT in the form, it is absolutely a present active participle. Okay, that's how you recognize them. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so NS or NT is what you're going to look for those. Now, future, also silly little trick. There's a UR in future. Oh, isn't that nice? Wait, I feel like that could be cool on a shirt. You are in the future. Oh, except it'll be like bolded like that. I see it in my head. That's pretty dumb. Okay, anyway. And every single form of this word is going to have a UR in it. So if it looks like a verb with adjectival endings and it's got a UR in the form, it is a future active participle. Okay, now in terms of recognition, I'll just kind of talk about the future passive participle really quickly. Okay, I told you that the future passive, I'll spell the word out for you so you can see it. You don't have to write this though, because we're not actually going over these at this time. All right, so gerunds or gerundives, that's what the future passive participle is. Okay, and the word gerund and gerundive both have ND in the form, and if you notice, so does mittendus. Okay, so if you have a word that looks like a verb with adjectival endings and it's got an ND, it is either a gerund or gerundive, also known as a future passive participle. Okay, so those are super helpful little shortcuts to recognizing them. They're really not that hard to find once you kind of get accustomed to them. Okay, any questions? Okay. Yes. Yes. Sorry. That's me. That's the puppy cam.
When I go up to their house, they like stick my face in it and like see like a fishbowl effect.
I think one of my favorite things to do. My favorite things to do is wait for like someone that I know to walk by, and then I start playing like really obnoxious music through the speaker.
Oh.
You can do that?
Yeah, if you have, you can do it through the app. If you're cool enough to have the app.
Or just speak with it.
Yeah, make them freak out.
Gerundas, they're just, you have ND.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually I'll give you an example of a pretty famous gerundive. Actually, is it? Okay, Carthago delenda est. Carthage must be destroyed. So sometimes when you have it with a verb to be, it kind of, when you have a gerund or gerundive with the verb to be, it kind of indicates a sense of obligation to do something. So instead of just about, like Carthage is about to be destroyed, it's Carthage must be destroyed. Okay, and if you notice, delenda, it's got that ND in it, just like a gerund Gerundive. Does that make sense? Okay, super simple. Okay, goodbye, Carthage. See you, Hannibal. All right, any questions on that? No? Okay. So now we've kind of done the bird's eye view. Let's zoom in a little bit on each participle and talk about those. May I scroll? She said as she scrolled already anyway. Okay, so we talked about yesterday the PAP, present active participle. I kind of want to continue that discussion a little bit. All right, so let's talk about the time of the present active participle. Okay, so the time, the action of the PAP takes place when? Before, after, or at the same time? At the same time. Oh wow, did I just write when I asked it? That's annoying. Takes place okay, so the action of the PAP takes place continuously and at the same time as the action of the main verb. Okay, next we're going to talk about the form of the PAP. You saw the example. Okay, so that should be helpful, but let me talk you through how to actually form it. All right, so the PAP is formed from the present stem Okay, now I'd like you to think about this for a second. All right, verbs have 4 principal parts, right? Okay, and verbs in Latin belong to one of 2 verb systems. Do we remember what those verb systems are called? There's the present and then there's the perfect. Which principal part is going to give me my present stem, meaning the stem that we use for the present, the imperfect, and the future tenses? The second principal part, good. So we're just gonna write second PP here. Okay. So you take the stem and then your endings are those of single termination, third declension, adjectives, okay, the only difference is that NS is the nom singular and entis is the gen singular. Okay, and sorry, I should put a little dash before those just to show that those are the endings that go onto the stem. Okay, but other than that, it's just declined like a third declension adjective.
Don't they all have NT in them?
They do, except for the noun that's singular.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just to kind of like give you a heading. So what we're gonna do, actually before we jump into that, let's just talk very quickly about translation. Okay, so the translation of the Paparoo, plain and simply, use the suffix. You guys know what a suffix is, right? It goes on the end of a word. What's the thing that goes on the beginning of the word? Yay! Okay, just add ing to it. That's very basic. Okay, but sometimes what you can do is you can translate it like a relative clause. Or you could use while or as. All right, so those are three possibilities for translating your PAP. Okay. All right, how are we doing?
But when you use while, you would use the ing, the word with ing, right? Like while.
So I could say like,
sending.
while sending the message, she blah blah blah. Yeah. So like that example, Caesar rediens ex Gallia, Caesar returning from Gaul. I could say that, or I could say Caesar who was returning from Gaul, or Caesar while he was or as he was returning from Gaul. Right? So it makes it sound a little bit more flowful. That's not the word. There you go. Flows better. Just circumlocute. Talk around it because I don't know that word. Okay, so let's do an example of forming one so you guys kind of get the gist of how to do it. Okay, let's take the verb paro, parare, paravi, paratus. Okay, now form it. Take the present stem. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our second principal part. That's this guy over here. Okay, we're going to get rid of the RE. All right, and that leaves us with our present stem. That's para. Okay. And then all we do is we just decline it like a third declension, essentially. Third declension adjective. So how much? More? There?
Actually, not to the form part.
To form? Sure. Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay, so, right, I told you it's NS in the nominative singular, so it's parans. Then the genitive is going to be parantis. Okay, and now there's going to be an NT in every single form here on out. So, parans, parantis, paranti, right? We remembering our third declension endings? Parantem, yep. Actually, no. This is because it's an adjective, it's an I, which is annoying. Paranti.
Wait, is that like the third declension adjectives, just like regular adjectives and then I after as well, right? Because we learned that like last class.
It came up in the reading, right? Like we weren't sure. There was a word that looked like it was genitive, but it couldn't possibly be. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I wrote down third declensions with an I and an apple.
Yep, it's in the ablative for whatever reason. I actually don't know that reason. All right, and then in the plural though, it's pretty regular. So we've got our third declension nominative plural, parant, what? Ace. Okay, then we're gonna go parantium, parantibus, paranti, whoops. Sorry, I am so losing my marbles here. Parant. Ace, sorry, yeah, and then parantibus. Okay. Now just notice, in the neuter, the only change that's going to be made is that instead of parantes, it's going to be parantia. in the nominative and the accusative, right? But that just kind of goes with the neuter rule, right? Do you remember the neuter rule, guys? Mm-hmm. Yep, short A in the plural, and in the singular they just agree. They match rather. Okay, and that's it. So that's the present active participle. Okay. Now, just for your own, I guess, knowledge, I'll just write down some examples of some other participles that exist. All right, and you can tell me what they mean. Okay, capiens, capientis. Where does that one come from? Sometimes it's helpful if you know all four principal parts, say them in your head and you'll be able to figure it out. So capio, capere, capi, captus. Captured or to take. Okay, so this is like taking. Snatching. Okay, we've got habens, habentis. Okay, it comes from habeo, habere, habui, habitus. What does this participle mean? Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got faciens, facientis. Comes from facio, facere, faci, factus? Yeah, making or doing. Yeah. Okay, let's just do one more. Okay, audiens, audientis comes from audio, audire, audivi, auditus. It is. So hearing or listening. Good instinct, Tom. Okay. Oh, we gotta do this one, I guess. Sorry, one more. Lame. Amans, amantis, coming from amo, amare, amavi, amatus. The first verb anyone ever learns in Latin. Okay. To love or to like. So, loving or liking. Cool. Okay. How do y'all feel about the PAPs? Pretty comfortable? Okay. Are we still breathing? All right. Let me know when you've finished writing that last thing down. AMANS.
Those are just examples?
Those are examples of PAPs. Right, but then like if you were to fully flesh them out, you would do so like a third declension adjective.
So paths are always third declension.
Yep, and that's the only one that's gonna have like third declension-ish endings. All the rest are first and second declension endings, which is a little bit more helpful. Or at least a little easier to deal with. Okay, I suspect we've all done writing. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Okay, and you're gonna march in place. You're gonna march in place. And you're gonna swing your arms like you have no bones. Come on, let's go. Swing your arms like you got no bones. Get the blood flowing. It's the morning. Wake up, sunshine. You guys look really not into this. Come on, the more you lean in, the better it'll be. Woo!
Yeah.
Marching in place, marching in place. Swinging your arms all over the place. All right. Well, I feel great, so y'all can sit down. Okay. So now we're gonna do the same process for the PPP, the perfect passive participle. All right, so I'm gonna scroll. A yeast. Yeah, you can get water. Yeah, just go. I trust you. Okay, may I scroll? Okay. All right, so similarly, okay, the PPP, we're going to talk about time and its relationship to the main verb. Okay? So the action of the PPP is completed and takes place prior to the action of the main verb. Okay, and then once you've gotten the time down, let's talk about the form. Like, how is this word formed? Okay, we've talked about this before, but the PPP is the fourth principal part of irregular verbs. Okay, if you take away the US or the UM ending of the fourth principal part, you get the stem. Whoops. Okay, and then it's declined like a first, second declension adjective. Okay. All right, now the translation of this is pretty simple. Okay, I told you before it's having been blanked. or sometimes simply you could just translate it as blanked. That's fine too. Okay. So now let's actually practice forming one. Let's take the verb capio capere. I said the principal parts before. You think you can remember him? Capio capere. Yeah. Okay, now some Latin teachers do it capio capere capi captum, while others say capio capere capi captus. Why does it not matter? Exactly. One's masculine, one is neuter. It does not matter because that ending is going to get dropped anyway. Okay. So like we said before, you need your fourth principal part. That's this guy right over here. All right. And then you just take off that US or that UM ending, depending on which Latin teacher you have. Okay. And that leaves us with copt, which is our PPP stem. Okay. Now, let's go through and write this out, shall we? This is going to be a lot of writing. I'm sorry in advance, but it's good practice. Okay. All right, so we've got captus, capta, captum. Okay, now, this column is going to be masculine, this is going to be feminine, and this is going to be neuter. All right, so honestly, it might just be easier to do them kind of down-wise. All right, so let's start with the masculine. Where am I getting these endings from for masculine? Captus. What declension? Second declension. Okay, so captus, capti, capto, captum, capto. Let's do the plural. Capti, captorum, captis, captos, captis. Okay, now let's do the feminine column. Where are we getting these endings from? What declension? First declension. Okay, so capta, captai, captai, captam, capta, captai, captarum, captis, captas, captis. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now, the neuter, where are we going to get those endings from? What declension? Second declension. Okay, second declension neuter. So captum, capti, capto, captum, capto, capta, captorum, captis, capta, captis. Okay? Simple. Very, very simple. All right, some examples of PPPs that you might see. Here's one for you. Okay, vocatus aum. Does anyone know what verb that comes from? Mm-hmm. To speak or to call. Does anyone know the principal parts by any chance? I'll give you the first one, voco. Very good. Okay, so this is just having been called. Or simply just called. Either is fine. Okay. Let's do this one. Visus Does anyone know what verb this comes from? Yeah, wideo, widere. I think it's weedy, weesum.
Yeah.
Yeah, because weenie, weedy, weeki, I came, I saw, I conquered. What is it? I keep meaning to bring in that meme. It's the cat in like a Lego model of the Colosseum, and it says in Latin, I came, I saw, I fits, I sits. Like, you know how cats do, it's like if they fits, they sits. No? You guys don't know that meme? Okay, that's fine. That's okay. I'm a little behind. Okay, so having been seen, or simply just seen. Yeah, video, videre, vidi, visus. Okay, speaking of seen, why is his last name Bean, but his first name is not Seen? Why is it Sean?
I don't know.
Dang it, Sean Bean. Okay, sorry. All right, I'll get off my soapbox now.
My cousin's name is Sean.
Just call him Seen.
I always said Seamus.
Ah, Seamus. Irish names are so,
And Seamus, it's not Shamus.
yeah.
Seamus, yeah.
Or Shamus.
Seamus? No, it's Seamus.
Yikes.
Okay.
That's a darn right Seamus.
It's like an English name now, so.
Does he say? Oh, Sean is the nickname.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Okay. Does everyone pretty much have this written down?
Wait, can you
No.
keep it up for like
No.
2 minutes?
No. Okay. I'll chill.
Saoirse.
Saoirse?
Oh, Saoirse.
Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse. She's one of my favorite
She's so
actresses.
cool, but her name makes no sense.
Wait, I feel like I know her.
I just
It's
tried to say it out loud at first because I knew I was gonna.
I love her.
I have a cousin whose name is like Siobahn.
Oh, it's like, isn't it Siobhan?
Siobhan. Yeah, Siobhan. It's like, what? Because my cousin married an Irish guy, so now their kids have really weird names.
I feel like they're cool. The names are cool.
I know, I love the Irish names.
Yeah, how do you say her name?
Saoirse. Or Siobhan.
Saoirse? Saoirse.
Saoirse Ronan. No, it's Saoirse.
Yeah. Saoirse. That's what I was.
Saoirse.
I was gonna say Saoirse.
I thought I was gonna say Royce.
I'm gonna say Saoirse.
Oh, and then there's like a stupid movie. It's like a chick flick, but she walks into this pub in Ireland and she like asks to use the phone. And the last name, I
Bad luck thingy.
think it's spelled like that.
Isn't that Evan?
And she's like, can I use your phone? EO gone. And she's from Boston, so she's got this like egregious accent. And he goes, it's Owen. And then he just like points to the
What
phone.
movie is it?
Leap year.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like the actress from Enchanted.
Yep, that's her. Yeah, that's a fun movie. It's a pretty fun movie. Okay. Does everyone have their stuff written? Almost. Almost.
Wait, the cactus is the fourth principal part. So that's
Yep.
Yeah.
We are the bears of SBS. On the field, on the court. We're the best. Oh, the white and blue.
Do you have a song?
Remember to stay true.
This is the SBS. What? How do you say this song again?
We are the bears of SBS. Field or on the court. We're the best. Cheer for the white and blue. Remember to stay true. Victory is on the way. Win this game the bear kind of way. Protect the game.
Yeah,
No?
In
The
college.
person who wrote that song
is Mr. Perney, so you might want to keep your mouth shut.
He has no idea how music works.
It was actually, I think it was all admissions. It was Mr. Perney, Miss Cipatelli, and Mr. Hickey.
Oh my gosh, you made me yell at her.
Well, at faculty meetings, the three of them got up to do it in front of the whole staff, and we were all just like,
That's really funny.
Wait, Bernie, Mrs. Cipatelli and you?
And Mr. Hickey, admissions people.
Wait, Mr.
Oh, no, that's not admissions, that's,
Advanced room.
thank you. I knew it was an A word. Mm. That's fair.
There's supposed to go back to where you did the beat today. I accidentally wrote down are actually quite perfect
I have
as
my
the
dad,
further,
if
which is
you
wrong,
haven't.
as the future.
Yes.
Future passive.
Mito,
So what is the future passive say?
Future passive is mitendus aum. Okay. But we're not going to go over that one today. I just wanted to show you that it exists. Okay. Everybody stand up. This is fun. This is fun. We do fun things. Okay. Alright, so we're going to play toilet bowl. That's what I call it. Alright, the category is going to be words that start with A.
Wait,
Aardvark.
apple. Wait, what is this game?
Words that, I don't know, just words that start with A.
Hey, this is fun.
A. A.
Erin, you lost. Sit down. Wait. No, apricot.
Okay.
Assassination.
Armadillo.
Awkward.
Did you say, I don't know? Because that would count.
Applesauce.
Awesome.
Somebody
This
said
is
that.
our
Somebody said
this.
Ridiculous.
Okay. Did I get everybody?
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. You guys want to go for another round?
No, B, do the.
Alright.
Why don't we just
Where
do
if you
it?
hesitate Ooh, okay, how about geographical
Do you know what we do?
features
Is he
or
out, though?
states or
Is he
countries?
not out?
Anything that's like on a map.
But letters, like,
Doesn't matter.
oh, anything.
Anything you can think of.
The entire continent. About Africa.
Okay.
Yes.
Alright.
Texas.
So like it stays on a like on that.
Anything on a map.
Oh, like Alps.
Afghanistan.
Oh, we're still going days. Wow, okay.
Oh yeah, it's just in our first
Africa.
Okay.
Didn't we?
Wait, she said that is any. Wait, what is it? Anything that does what?
Anything that's on a map. And it doesn't have to start with
Anything
A.
on a map?
Bahamas.
Bahamas.
What'd you say?
Bahamas.
Oh, Bahamas, okay.
Africa.
Jalissa? What? Ooh, okay.
Capital of Luxembourg.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Wait, no, what? What? What is the capital of Luxembourg?
No. It's capital of Luxembourg.
Sweden.
It's not Sweden. Luxembourg is like one of the smallest.
It's like Luxembourg City.
Oh,
That's really
That's
easy.
pretty easy.
Oh, actually, just said it? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
like
Okay.
one of the basic like in Sweden.
Italy.
Oh, Italy, okay.
Middle of the ocean.
Alabama.
Sweden. No.
Alright, you guys can sit. Oh, I skipped you? No!
Zealand.
Oh, there you go. Alright.
In my house,
Yes.
if words like in a category, but the word, the letter that the word ended with, you have to start with.
That's what we do too. I love that
That's the card
game.
game.
It's, yep, the car game, the dinner game,
Yeah.
the we're bored so let's text back and forth all day game.
Yeah.
We do that and we do the rhyme game. I love the rhyme game. My family, which explains a lot. Okay.
I do not know how to.
All right, last one. Last one. Bear with me. Bears of SBS.
Not stuck in my head.
We're on the field and in the classroom. We're the best. Yeah. All right, so future, active or passive? Active. Participle. Okay, that's how you're gonna mark that up. All right, so let's just talk about time real quick. Okay, the action of the future active participle simply just happens after the action of the main verb. Okay. Form is super easy. The stem comes from the fourth principal part of a regular verb. I think I'm just gonna change up my voice every couple of minutes to keep you guys guessing on what's going on over here. Okay, and just like before, you take away the us or the depending on your Latin teacher. And then you add urus, ura, urum. Okay, now similarly, like the other ones that we did, it declines like a typical first, second declension adjective, okay? Okay, now in terms of translations, we actually have quite a few at our disposal, which is very nice. Here they come. You could say about to. You could also say intending to. You could also say going to. You could also say planning to. You could also say ready to. And finally, this one's a little weird. You could say on the point of, but I've never used this one in my life. But I'll tell you it anyway. Okay. Okay. Now question, was it helpful to kind of just see the form written out for the previous two? Like an example of one? You can't write anymore? Then left? Get it? If you can't write, just left? Oh. Okay, I'm gonna skip, I'm gonna go past time, I'm gonna go past form, is that A-okay? Like I'm just scrolling. Is that cool? So you can write your...
I thought you said something else.
Oh, I have no idea what you thought I would have said. That's okay. All right, so paro parare. All right, this is the last thing we're doing, so hang in there. I know we got a couple, like, seconds left. All right, so like we said before, go to the fourth principal part, get rid of the US, and that leaves us with our stemaroo. Okay, and then you're gonna add a U, R, US to each form. So it's gonna be very similar to an adjective. Paratus. Paratus. Paraturus. Paratura. Paraturum.
Can you scroll up just
Slightly, so you can see the weird translations. There you go. Okay. Now, these are going to be declined. You know these endings, I hope. Okay, second declension, masculine. Let's do this. All right. Paratur, us, paratur, e, paratur, o, paratur, paratur, o. And then we go to the plural. Paratur, e. Paratur. Oh, this is paratur. Roar. Yeah, sorry. My brain just short circuited a little bit. Paratur is. Paratur os. Paratur is. Okay. Then we'll do the feminine. Same as the first declension endings that we know. So paratura. Paraturai. Paraturai. Paraturam. Paratura. Then in the plural. Paraturai. Paraturarum. Man, that's a mouthful. Paratur is. Paratur as. Paratur is. Okay, and then just the neuter. Ooh, I hope we get it in paraturum. Paratori. Paraturo. You can see my handwriting is also getting worse. Paraturum. All right, let's just finish this and then you guys can go. Paraturum. Okay, and that's it. All right, so that was our massive overhaul on participles. Okay, what I'm gonna do for homework, I'm gonna post a couple sentences. What I'd like you to do is read through them, identify the participle, like what kind is it, and then translate, okay? And I'll see you guys on Monday, because Monday's a Friday schedule next week, okay?